Madam Deputy Speaker, and I rise to speak to new clause 17 and amendment 46, which both stand in my name. Now, as we consider the amendments in front of us, I want to focus my remarks on a very simple principle, which is if Parliament is creating Great British Railways, and we can argue about any timeline, and we're concentrating more responsibility and decision-making within a single national body, then it's only right that there should be appropriate accountability and local democratic oversight alongside that. As this bill stands, it falls short in this regard. But let me be really clear on this. New clause 17 does not seek to prevent decisions being made, nor does it seek to create unnecessary bureaucracy, but rather what it does is it ensures that where decisions relating to railway services or infrastructure have a significant impact on local communities and economies, then members of this House, elected to represent those communities, are consulted. Surely that is what local democracy and accountability is all about.
Actually, allow me.
Yes, of course.
I thank my right honourable friend for giving way, and she's making a very important point. My constituents are utterly shocked that at the moment, if they want to travel between London and Stoke-on-Trent and get a train today, it will cost a minimum of £160. We really do need local democracy and local decision-making because these prices are outrageous.
Wendy Moore, the right honourable lady makes a really, really important point, because I know personally I've found of late the train prices going to Birmingham, far from being lauded as a lot cheaper, some of the fares are absolutely eye-watering. So I would call upon the government to take a serious look at that, and rather than just say, oh, fares are all cheaper, look right across the board, because some of them are far from affordable, which is why I also support my honourable friend on the front bench's amendment when it comes to the rail card for our veterans, another really, really key thing that we need to make sure is delivered. Because it's actually members of Parliament who are often the first port of call, as my right honourable friend has demonstrated, when there are problems with rail services, ticketing, or when communities are campaigning for investment, whether it's constituents, businesses, community groups, or local campaigners. They rightly expect their MP to be their voice and their champion. Local knowledge matters, and surely those who are elected to represent our communities should have a role in decisions that affect them. I know from my own constituency of Aldridge-Brownhills just how important that can be. As the honourable gentleman on the front bench knows, and he is smiling, I have long campaigned for the restoration of a railway station in Aldridge, and I make no apology for championing that cause, and I won't be giving up anytime soon. Members across the House will have heard me raise this time and again for very good reason. Because, Madam Deputy, for too long, communities like mine have been left behind by the railways. We now hear also talk of new passenger services such as WSMR running through our village without stopping. That would be a huge missed opportunity. If we're serious about unlocking the economic growth that the Black Country so desperately needs, then connectivity is key. Throughout this debate, I've been interested to hear contributions about the importance of putting passengers at the heart of our railway system. Now, I of course agree with that, but surely it cannot be right that decisions with significant local impacts could be taken without speaking to the very members elected to represent those communities. If we're to have Great British Railways, then we should also have Great British accountability. This is not an argument against the direction the government have chosen to take. Government have chosen that path, but greater centralisation must be accompanied by greater accountability. That seems to me to be a very reasonable proposition, and one that I genuinely think members right across this House would be able to support. And when it does come to accountability, I've also tabled Amendment 46, which would ensure that where directions are issued to Great British Railways, they are shared with the Transport Select Committee. That again seems to me to be entirely sensible, because just as local communities deserve to have a voice through their members of Parliament, Parliament itself should be able to exercise proper scrutiny. Transparency and accountability go hand in hand. And if ministers are to have significant powers over Great British Railways, then surely it is right that this House and its select committees are able to see how those powers are being exercised. Ultimately, both of my amendments are about striking the right balance between central direction and democratic accountability. Local communities deserve to have their voices heard, and Parliament should be able to exercise proper scrutiny. Whilst I shan't be pushing my amendment to the vote, or my new clause to a vote, I really do hope that the Minister will reflect on that point, give these proposals serious consideration, and will respond to them when he wraps up at the end of this debate. Thank you.
I'll go on then. Why not?
I'm conscious that he's winding up, and I promise I'm not going to ask a question about Aldridge train station. But what I just want to ask about is accountability, because in the wind-ups, the honourable gentleman has spoken a lot about the transfer of powers and devolution. But I put in an amendment which I decided not to push, but around the need for clearer accountability and transparency.
Well, the Honourable Lady is absolutely right to say that accountability and transparency should run to the heart of this. I think we've pointed to a bit of a discrepancy between the views of the major parties on how that should take place. It's an interesting argument to say on the one hand that you don't want to micromanage the railway and then to put on the face of the bill lots of KPIs that allow you to do so. But she is right to point to the sentiment that accountability needs to run to the heart of GBR. That is what the passenger watchdog is there for, to enforce consumer standards on the railway as licence conditions for all operators. But I thank her for raising that important point.